What's up everyone? Welcome back to another video, and in this one I want to talk about the 5 things I wish I knew before jumping into the games industry and the tech industry, because these things apply to both and they're things that I wish I would have either prepared for or either taken more time to understand before going to those industries. So let's talk about it. Now let's talk about the biggest thing I think I wish I would have known before jumping to either of these industries is the sheer lack of communication between team members, departments, verticals, everything. And I've seen this at every single studio, every single company I've worked for, in terms of things not being properly communicated, scope of work, deadlines or dependencies, whatever it is. There's been a ton of issues I've experienced over the past 12 years of working in both industries, and a lot of it comes down to communication, lack thereof, poor communication. And yeah, it's something that I've seen improve at some places, but it's been an issue at every single company I've worked for, whether it's something not being communicated to one specific team or to one person that is the subject matter expert of that thing that needs to get done. It happens everywhere, and that is, in my opinion, the biggest problem with both of these industries is just communication being very poor. And this is something that everyone needs to work on individually and as a department, and hopefully that improves in the future, at least within whatever role I end up in next, because it's a huge problem. It affects deadlines, it affects releases, it affects everything. So yeah, communication is definitely a huge one because it's something that I've seen be a problem everywhere, whether that's in development teams, live ops, internally, externally. It's bad. Another thing that I wish I knew is about ownership, because I'm someone who has owned a lot of different things, working in QA, working in production at different types of companies. And I've also seen lack of ownership, where someone who is supposed to make decisions or be in charge of something, it doesn't seem like they understand that, or it doesn't seem like they want to be that single person that makes that final decision, or, you know, it just wasn't communicated to them. And that goes back to the first point I made, lack of communication. So yeah, I mean, if someone is in charge of a specific thing and they are the person to give the go, no go, they need to own that. And it's affected a lot of things in terms of, you know, whether something needs to be developed, whether something can be developed, and whether something needs to be handed off to another team or not. It's a big problem. And, you know, you would think that, especially people with a lot more experience in gaming and tech or either industries, that they wouldn't have a problem owning things. But, you know, time and time again, I've seen this, and it's, again, another problem, something that needs to be clearly communicated. And, you know, if you're going to be in charge of something, you have to actually own that. And if you don't feel like you can own that, or you don't want to own that, then you need to express that to everyone else who is a stakeholder or who has a dependency on the thing that you're owning. So yeah, just own your stuff. Now, another thing, and something I haven't touched on before, is the amount of meetings that happen. I feel like over the past 5-6 years, I've been in so many more meetings because I've been in leadership positions, and half of them were unnecessary. Half of them could have been Slack messages, you know, or those topics that were discussed in those meetings could have been in a single meeting instead of being multiple meetings, you know, back to back to back, or because we didn't have enough time to talk about it in one meeting, so we need to throw in another meeting into the calendar and still not have enough time to talk about it and still jump into another meeting after that. You know, there's been lots of short meetings, very, very small 15 to 30 minute meetings that should honestly be an hour or two. I know that sounds crazy because everyone's schedule is busy and you may have meetings with multiple departments and stakeholders and demos to do and other things. So I get it. But if you come out of a meeting that's scheduled, that's been planned for a week or two, everyone knows what it's about, everyone knows just what needs to be discussed. That meeting needs to be at least an hour long, you know? And the whole point is just to have one meeting, so you don't have multiple meetings across multiple days or weeks, and everyone can come to a decision and action items can be brought out of that one meeting, instead of having multiple meetings where some people are there, some people are not there, and whatever needs to be figured out is still not figured out, and you still have concerns, you still have risk that may be affecting whatever decision needs to be made. And yeah, I mean, spending 75% of your day in meetings is not healthy for any company. It sucks for everyone involved, and it takes away from you being able to do real work, to learn new things for your job or for the project you're working on, to take time to actually focus on the thing you need to work on, whether that's documentation or building something or designing something. You know, meetings take up a lot of time, and you know, having one meeting instead of 5 meetings scheduled across 2 weeks because some people can't make it, some people are out of office, some people didn't understand what was happening even after the initial first and or second meeting, it's not good. So yeah, meetings are definitely a pain and take up a huge amount of time that could be spent on many other important things. Now, another one that I want to talk about is unnecessary features or functionality. Things that are scoped out for no reason for a project, things that are cutting into development time for important features or functionality or bug fixes that need to be addressed, and those things being moved up in priority because someone at the top thinks, oh, this will get us more users or generate more revenue. Like, all that stuff is not important, if I'm being honest. The things that are important are fixing the issues with your product, whether that's a game, a piece of software, a service, whatever it may be, fixing the issues. That's first and foremost the most important thing. If it's something that's still in development that hasn't been released yet, same thing, fixing the issues that are occurring in your product. The next thing is adding features and functionality for the player or the user, the end user, and not something that you feel like would be beneficial to you or the company or the bottom line. Like, you got to think about the user experience first and not your own pocket, and not things that can be added at a later date. You want to make your product, whatever it is, like I said, game, service, piece of software, integration, it doesn't matter. Like, you want to make it for the user, for the company that's using your product, or just for the player who is possibly interested in playing your game. That's the most important thing. And a lot of companies have gotten away from that because they're more concerned about the bottom line and having multiple people take on tasks that are outside the scope of their position. And yeah, it just sucks because you see that in a lot of things. You see that in everything now. You know, a lot of things were not taken into consideration, the player, the customer, the end user. So a lot of companies focus now on the bottom line and always having one or two things to make them money immediately when something is released. Whether that's a game and battle passes, shop items, other ways to monetize, or a piece of software, a free version that gives you very limited functionality, or a pro version that gives you all of the things that really everyone should have in just a single version. But those things were broken out because they felt like, well, we can get people using our product for a little bit, but if they are really serious and they need these specific things, which most of the time, most users will need those specific things, they'll have to upgrade and pay us. You could create one version of the thing, release it with all the features and functionality, but there seems to be this mentality of creating a tiered approach to like releasing a product and having multiple SKUs of that product. And I don't know, I don't like it. I've seen this in everything, you know, whether that's games and having a regular battle pass and a premium battle pass, or that's, you know, a piece of software that has a free version with very limited functionality and has a pro version or a plus version. It really just happens everywhere, and I think it needs to stop. You know, it's really greedy in my opinion, and I wish I would have known how greedy companies were from the start. There are a lot of companies that do things for the love of doing things, and a lot of companies who do things for the money and to keep making more and more money. And if they don't make more and more money, they start laying people off. I mean, we've seen this in the last 3 years in the tech and gaming industries. Massive tech players laying off thousands of employees. Massive gaming companies laying off thousands of employees. So all of the things I talked about need to be addressed because 1, they'll create a healthier work environment. 2, they'll create better products. And 3, the end user will be happier. They'll feel like they have more trust in these companies. They'll feel like they're getting more value out of these products. And those are the main things. The end user, the player, the consumer, like I said before. But that's not the last thing. The last thing, in my opinion, and a very important thing, because again, I've seen this at every single company I've worked at, is process. And it's old process that is super outdated or a lack of process which hasn't been created yet. And if you don't have a process, you have many problems that can arise from that. As someone who's created processes for different things at different companies, I can tell you it's not hard. It's not hard to create process and order and structure. It's just people don't make the time to do this stuff or think that someone else would do it, when really it's a company-wide thing to create process. And within each individual department and or team, vertical, whatever it may be, there needs to be a general process for each one of those things. And time again, this has been an issue. Like, I've seen this at multiple companies, like I said, where there is no process for XYZ, for this scenario, that scenario, whether it's something related to development, something related to a product that's already live to consumers, a game or service that's currently running, and issues seen on the production environment. It's just, process is something that's very important, and it keeps things in order for the most part. I mean, there are definitely outliers, you know, when it comes to having a process, because you can't cover everything, but a process will give you the runway to build on top of itself and improve over time, create better processes, and have different ways to react to certain things. Like I said, within development or within production, whatever it may be. So process is key. Process is something that's not owned by a specific person, or it shouldn't be, in my opinion. It's something that the team or the department or the vertical need to address as a unit. And once you get process down, that makes things a lot easier. But without process, it's just chaos. And some people may like chaos, but for the benefit of the company, the product, the service, the game, the employees, process is crucial. So yeah, that's everything. Those are the things that I wish I would have known before getting into tech and gaming, because this has been a thing for 12 years now that I've seen at every single company. It's insane to me that these things are still issues, you know, given how mature both of these industries are compared to some other industries, or technologically advanced they are compared to other industries, obviously. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree with the issues that I mentioned? Do you agree that we need to address these things? Let me know in the comment section below. But until next time, I'll catch you later.